Here's a story that'll make you question everything you thought you knew about grit and controversy in the NFL. Carson Wentz, despite battling excruciating pain, insisted on staying in the Minnesota Vikings' Thursday night football game against the Los Angeles Chargers, even as critics slammed his coach for not pulling him sooner. But here's where it gets controversial. Was it a heroic display of determination, or a risky decision that put his health in jeopardy? Let's dive in. In a candid interview, Wentz, who's now on injured reserve and awaiting season-ending shoulder surgery, set the record straight. "This isn't my first rodeo," he said, brushing off accusations of recklessness. "I knew what I was signing up for. Nobody forced me." Wentz's injury, a torn labrum and fractured shoulder socket, suffered in Week 5 against the Cleveland Browns, had already sidelined him once, but he returned in Week 7 after the Vikings' bye week. Yet the short turnaround for the TNF game left his shoulder particularly vulnerable. And this is the part most people miss, despite grimacing in pain throughout the 37-10 blowout loss. Wentz wasn't replaced by rookie backup Max Brosmer until just 1:56 remained in the game. His final play ended with him hurling his helmet, covering his face, and seemingly fighting back tears. Was it a moment of raw emotion, or a sign that he'd pushed himself too far? Wentz insists it was simply the pain of playing a game he loves, even when his body was screaming at him to stop. "It's fun," Wentz admitted. "I grew up dreaming of this. When you lose it for a bit, it's hard to let go." His determination to stay in the game wasn't just about pride. It was about the chance to play in meaningful games, something he hadn't done regularly since 2022. But here's the kicker. While Wentz defended his decision, coach Kevin O'Connell faced a storm of criticism for not pulling him earlier. When asked if O'Connell should have intervened, Wentz was clear. "Truthfully, no, I never felt unsafe. It was just pain. Pain I knew surgery would fix." O'Connell, however, stood by his choice, calling it a football decision backed by the team's medical staff. He argued that the Vikings still had a shot at winning, no matter how slim. According to Elias Sports Bureau, only one NFL team since 1950 has come back from a 24-point deficit in the fourth quarter, the 1987 St. Louis Cardinals. But is holding on to such slim odds worth risking a player's health? That's the question sparking debates across the league. Here's the controversial interpretation. Some argue O'Connell prioritized a long-shot comeback over Wentz's well-being, while others believe he respected Wentz's autonomy as a veteran player. What do you think? Was it a commendable display of trust or a dangerous oversight? Let's hear your thoughts in the comments. As Wentz prepares for surgery and welcomes his fourth child with wife Madison, he remains grateful for the Vikings' support. "The public backlash is crazy," he said. "Nobody knows what's truly going on behind these walls." Whether you see him as a hero or a cautionary tale, one thing's certain: Carson Wentz's story is far from over.